Let's turn now to the broader issue of women's rights in Africa. They are often ignored. To help change that, each year, Georgetown University here in Washington sponsors a group of African women to take part in a leadership and advocacy program. Those women share their experiences and their commitment to change with me Thursday at a special gathering.
There are certain assaults and gender-based violence violations that cannot be handled at the traditional level. Murder, rape, defilement. All these are aggravated assaults against women, and they are gender-based. They need to be addressed through these formal structures. Unfortunately, these structures are cumbersome, they are expensive, they are not accessible for vulnerable women. And therefore, if there must be access to justice, it must be a system that doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter whether you're a woman, your race shouldn't matter, your color should not matter, and you must not be vulnerable, because more and more development partners are realizing that if issues on access to justice are not addressed, so that women will be able to access the system, then democracy and the rule of law becomes a farce, becomes an illusion, and it compromises even the development of a nation.
In 2006, the studies show that there are 200,000 child domestic workers in Kenya, and 80% of those are girls, and majority of them are below the age of 15. What the law says is that for it to be effective, for a job like child domestic work to be categorized as worst form of child labor, then the Minister of Labor and Human Resources has to make regulations to categorize child domestic work as such. So that is one way I would want to lobby my minister to do that, to categorize that child domestic work is indeed a worst form of child labor and therefore unlawful in Kenya. And that, so when it is done like that, then the Kenyan society would know that this is unlawful, or maybe that would be the starting point to start remedying the situation. But the most important thing, I think, is about the Kenyan society itself, far from the law. I would like the Kenyan media to start talking about the ills of child domestic work. And then Kenyan society from the family level to start talking about how child domestic work is abhorrent.
In the course of my research, it became very clear to me that even with the free primary education and subsidized secondary education, we still have so many girls who are not attending schools and so many who are still dropping out. More importantly, I saw that the transition rates from primary to secondary level are very, very low. And I thought the government being the major provider of education would do much more in the way they carry out their expenditure and vary the expenditure patterns.
Cameroon really is a pluralistic society. And besides that, we are talking of a country in which we have about 280 ethnic groups practicing different customs and traditions. But one thing that is certain is that these customs and traditions are applicable in a gender discriminatory manner against women.
So what are you advocating?
So what I am advocating for is that the Cameroon government has condoned this situation for too long. The Cameroon government should step up, make sure it promulgates the law on, that's the legislator specifically, should promulgate the law on violence against women, because this is a form of gender-based violence against women.
Now, if I may ask, that was a good job. Were there men there to listen to the concerns of women?
Actually, well, great question, Makori. Only 2 men that I saw, and I'm not quite sure in what capacity they were there. But these particular women, through this Georgetown University program, actually just come for a year. This particular group is about to leave, and they have a new one coming in, I think, starting in August.
I think there should be an interaction between men and women. It should be a partnership to fight these ills
so that
against women.
The message gets to, I guess, what many would consider sometimes the perpetrators of the violence against women.
And the policymakers who majority are men, in fact.
Well, hopefully this is what will change as a result of such programs.
We hope so.
Yeah.